What it do, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel, or welcome for the first time. My name is Kristen LeRae, and I'm here to motivate the day. And today, I'm very excited about this one. Today, I have my girl Aaliyah with me, and we're gonna be talking about a lot of stuff. We're gonna be talking about everything, honestly. Today, it's really unscripted. Aaliyah has been a supporter since day one. Honestly, truly. So the way that Aaliyah and I met, I was a RA, a resident assistant, while in college, and Aaliyah was my resident. And she used to see me recording my little videos when it was very bootleg back in the day, you know, would come up. But today we're gonna be talking about a whole bunch of stuff, and make sure to subscribe, hit the like button. But Aaliyah, if you want to give a little spill on who you are to the people, you know, just a little something, something.
Hi, I'm Aaliyah, and like Kristen said, I met her. I was her resident. I was her favorite resident.
Oh God.
But yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Yeah.
I'm excited too, though.
I'm excited.
Change is okay, regardless of this opinion.
Healing for me is really within my soul. It's really within my spirit.
Girl, I got tequila in my hand right now. You want prayer? Like,
So the way that we always start my Uncovered series is with the game We're Not Really Strangers. And Aaliyah and I are not strangers at all. So I think the way, so there are 3 different levels. Have you ever played this game before? I know you were asking, We're Not Really Strangers before.
No.
Okay, cool. So there are 3 different levels. So there is perception, connection, and reflection. So I think I want to do the second level with you, which is connection. Because today I just want to connect with you. So the way that I do it, I give you a card, and then I'm gonna pick a card, and then you answer the question, and then I'll answer the question, and then vice versa. So the question is, and I'll answer it first. The question is, has a stranger ever changed your life? So a stranger's never changed my life, but I would say a stranger has definitely affected my day. So like, you know how you're having a really bad day, and I can't think of an exact memory right now, but you know how you're having a bad day and somebody just smiles at you, or just somebody acknowledges your presence?
Yeah.
Like, that's always meant a lot to me. Or, okay, I can think of an example, because this is something that I try to do, but I know when I was working in customer service, and you have a name tag on, when people would actually say my name, and they would say like, how are you doing today, Kristen? And I'd be like, wait, how do you even know my name? But the simple fact that somebody actually took the time to acknowledge me, that usually just boosts my day. So I can't think of an exact day or like time, but any time like that, that's always just made me feel good. So like anytime I see people out, I always try to say their name if they have a name tag, because then they're like, you actually care about me? Like, yeah. So that would be mine. So what about you? Has stranger ever changed your life?
Changed my life. Well, at one point, I feel like, you know, everybody that's like my friends at one point, they were strangers, and they just had an effect on me, and then, you know, just kept them around kind of thing.
Yeah.
Now going to a customer service thing, I felt that because I used to hate customer service.
Yeah.
But this one lady used to come in my store all the time, and she would see my name.
Yeah.
And usually people are like, why 2 A's? Or that's a weird spelling, or why would your parents do that to you? But she came in my store and she was like, Allah. And then she was like, that means to go up. And she was like, you're gonna go up. And then she was telling me like, I was gonna be like going up like God. And like that meant a lot to me. It actually changed the way I looked at myself and like the things I was going through. Cause I was honestly at that point, it was probably this time last year, I was just beating myself up. It was like my last semester of college. I was just like, I don't really like have a job, don't know like what my next plan's gonna be. I don't want to go home kind of thing. But like just her, and she came in multiple times and she would say that.
Yeah.
And just every time she would come in, it would make me feel better. So it was just always like, okay, I might feel down this day, I might be down this day, but like I'm going up, like
Yeah.
and it's not stuck, we still going.
Period. And it's crazy thinking about where you were last year and where you are now. Because I remember when you graduated, but even I remember when you would come to me and you'd be like, I'm over this school stuff. Like, I think I'm about to bounce, I'm about to go back to flipping. Like, I can't do it. So then to see you graduate was like, oh my God, like look at you, like you really did it, you stuck it through. But then even post-graduation, now seeing you working in your field, and I know it'd be stressful because like work is work, but I remember where you were. And then I see you now and I see so much growth and I'm like, I'm so proud of you. Like, you're just doing the dang thing. So yeah. I just had to say a little tidbit.
So my question is, how are you really? And I would say right now, how am I really? I'll say like Kristen just said, yeah, work is work, kind of thing. But one thing that I implemented for me this year, and actually this was at Christian's New Year's party, she made us set goals for ourselves. And one of the goals I set for myself was, one, to really be doing something that I like with work. So that's something I was doing. Also spending more time with my friends, you know, having like a work-life balance. That was another thing, and you know, experience different things. So, and I've been going out, I've been experiencing different things, you know, and I just get like a different outlook on life. And that's one thing that college did for me too. Like, it was a lot of like point of views that they gave us to look at and like think about it on our own without others influencing you. And there's a lot of things that I would say, if I'd never had the experience that I've had, that I probably would think totally weird about them. Like, not weird, but I would just totally think negatively about them and not more positive about it. But that's basically it. Like, I feel good.
Yeah.
How are you really?
That's what I want to hear. How am I really? It's so funny because you hear the question, how are you? And it's like, my go-to is always like, you know, I'm just taking it day by day. I'm just taking it day by day. Or I'll just be like, I'm good. But then you add the really, and it's like, oh, really? I would say I'm doing good, honestly. I would say I'm doing good. I feel like it's taken me I commend you because you're saying how you feel like you're kind of finding your work-life balance. I feel like I'm just now finding that. And I graduated 2 years ago, and I'm in my field now, but it was hard for me because I juggle working full-time, and then I also have a part-time job, and then like trying to get content out, and then being in a relationship, but then also wanting to be around my friends, and I just be all over the place. But I feel like you prioritize what's important to you. So I feel like I'm just now getting to that point, and I'm not into the zodiac signs all like that, but I am a Libra, and they say balance is important to us, and when I tell you balance is so important to me. So I feel like now that I'm really in a better space of finding my balance, I'm doing good. And so prior to the relationship that I'm in now, I was really diving deep in like, who is Kristen, and finding myself out, especially like finding my identity outside of college, because you're a student for all these years and then you graduate and you're like, what am I doing? Like, your new title is the role that you have at your job for the most part. So I feel like I'm finding my way, and I'm finding the balance, and I forgot where I was going with it for a second. So I was like, wait, what the hell? Okay, but I remember though. But when I was, before my relationship that I was in, I was diving deep in like my spirituality and God and like that relationship. And I kind of fell off for a little bit, but I'm just now kind of slowly getting back on track, and like journaling is important to me. So I just started doing that again. So Very long-winded answer, but I'm doing good. Very long answer, but yeah, no, I'm doing good. So, let's talk. Let's chit chat. So, I want to start by telling you, I feel like the moment that I really got close to you, which you mentioned this off camera, but I remember when you came down, let me set the scene. So I'm, sitting at my little desk as a resident assistant, being the boss of everybody and their mama, or at least trying to. I was trying to be like the cool boss. But you came down to really sad. And this was when your little cousin, when your little cousin had passed, and I know you guys were really close. And I didn't necessarily know what to say. With the death, I've only lost 2 people who were really close to me, and that was my mom's best friend and my grandfather. And my grandfather, I looked like he was everything to me. So when he passed, it was like, oh my gosh. So I say that to say death is hard for me. It's just like I don't necessarily know what to say, but I just knew in that moment, like, you just needed somebody there for you physically. But I feel like that was the moment where you and I got close, because it was just like, I don't know what to say, but I'll just be here for you right now. Mm-hmm. So my question to you is, when was the moment where you felt like, dang, okay, me and Kristen are like, I can really consider her a friend, or I can really go to her?
I would say it was that moment too.
Okay.
Because like you said, like I would come to you, I'd be like, I'm over school. And it'd be like little haze and vibes. How are y'all? Like, reference check and all that stuff. But it was really that moment because I was lost for words. My family's not up here. My first thing was, okay, like, let me get in my car and go home. Like, this is not okay. But also I knew I had obligations of taking a final exam. So when you sat there and you like thought through and you were like, okay, well, let your professor know what's going on, see what they can do, if they can change it, move it online, things of that nature. Like, you really took your time and you just dropped everything you were doing at that moment to help me out. And then also leading up, like going past that day, like every day it was always a check-in. Hey, how are you? What did your professor say? Things of that nature. How are you doing today? Are you like okay mentally and things of that? So it was just like showing that you really cared, because somebody could have just been like, yeah, just email your professor and just just say they heard hey and just never really check on you kind of thing. So it just showed that you really cared.
Yeah, well, I still do care. Even though like we have our group chat where we'll be chatting randomly, just sending TikToks or somebody say something stupid. But going back to even like balance, my friends are important to me, and like you and I, even prior to that, you and I built a rapport to where it was just like, even though we weren't sitting down having no deep conversations all the time, like I know you when I see you. Every time I see you, I'm going to speak to you. Mm-hmm. And of course, most of my residents, but again, like I have my few residents where it was like, okay, but let me really see how you doing, because I don't really know. So outside of your little cousin, you lost your mom. And I guess one thing which was interesting, which I didn't know prior to hitting the record button, I wanted to talk to Aaliyah about her mother passed, and you told me that you had 11 years with your mom, and now it marks 11 years without your mom. So I guess my initial question right now is like, not why is that so special, but how really do you deal with life without your mom? Because I know for myself, like, I don't know how I could do it. And I know so many people who have lost parents, and like, I admire just the fact that you just like, I feel like if my mom were to pass today, I don't think I could do it. Like, I gotta go with her. Mm-hmm. So like for you, how do you I really admire how strong you are. So like, how do you just keep pushing past life? Because that's hard. Like your mom, that's pivotal.
Yeah.
So.
Well, of course I was 11, so.
Yeah, of course.
to be 11 and lose your mom, that's a lot. I'm also the only child. I say my sisters, because my god sisters are like my sisters. There's no way around it, and my godparents too. And it's basically just like my village. My village was very helpful when that happened. You know, being the only child and you know you're the only person going through it. I mean, also with my dad.
Right.
Or two, it was kind of like nobody feels the same way I feel right now. I felt like I acted out a lot. My attitude definitely did change, and I want to say at that age, I really just didn't know how to voice anything.
Of course, you're 11.
Yeah. Also, another thing that I didn't like was one of my sisters said, "Oh, I think you should go to therapy." And I was like, "No, no." And you know, at 11, you don't really know how much therapy can do for you.
Of course.
Because if I could go back to my 11-year-old self, I would have been like, yeah, you need to go to therapy.
Yeah.
But basically, it was just the people I surrounded myself with. Like, they were always positive. They never really wanted to bring negativity around me, especially when that was going on. And like I said, it was pretty much my village. So just going from, you know, being in my after-school program and just being a leader in the community, being active in my church, you know, doing other things, doing life like she was still here. Like she would have had me in all these things. And also down to academics, because she did not play when it came to academics. It was like every year I'm putting on my clothes for the first day of school. And so I was like, it's no ball game. It's a new ball game. So that was just like things like, it was already like at the age of 11, she's implemented so much in my life that I was just like, you know, I'm not going back. Like I know there is people that, you know, it does take a toll on them and they go totally left, but I was just like, my mom wouldn't want this for me. Right. I was like, I'm basically her legacy and like, I want to do life like I would have done it if she was here.
Right.
So basically just, that's pretty much what it was. I was just like, I'm going straight forward. I know I don't want to see myself in my hometown. I know I want to see myself not living large, but, you know, living at a standard where, you know, she would have been very happy about where I was.
Of course.
So that was like a plus too. And then also my friends, like my roommate, shout out to her.
Okay.
But one thing that my roommate has said to me, even before we became roommates, was her mom would always come and visit. She'd be like, do you need some mom time? And no, she's not trying to replace, you know, my mom or whatever, but she's trying to say like, do you need, you know, some time with an older female that can be like a mother figure to you because you don't have a mother figure to like, you know, be around. And no, I'm talking about Jay.
Okay.
And
I was just saying, oh my God, but that's so beautiful. Oh, shout out to Jalen. Okay.
I really like that, but before, you know, she really paid attention to that, me and my best friend Kennedy, tight as ever, the way like we basically grew up together in the same church. Our moms basically grew up in the same church together. Our families are like family kind of thing. Yeah. And every weekend, like, or when her mom could, her mom had me, or her mom would be like, hey, like to my dad, like, you know, what has Leah got going on this weekend? I can do it.
And she would pick you up like without Kennedy?
Oh no. Like,
okay.
Like I would be with Kennedy.
Okay.
I've been with her alone too.
Yeah.
But even when I was still doing like Little League and I was doing sports and stuff, and she was like, okay, Aaliyah needs a ride. I got it. Like she can stay at my house. I'll take them kind of thing. And she basically has like been a like big help, but also like I said, my god family's been a big help too. So everybody has had like a real big impact on me, and it's just like, you know, she's not here, she's not being replaced, but these people are stepping up to the plate as if she is here, so they're making life kind of easier. So that was definitely it. Now, at one point where I kind of just wanted to turn back and throw in the rag was in college. Okay. Because not only am I away from my family, but I just felt like, you know, if my mama was here, she'd probably be calling me every second like, what you doing?
Yeah.
What you doing? Yep. What you doing? And I just was like, I don't know, like, you know, everybody else, mom calling him every day and stuff. And, you know, I do call my dad and like talk to him, and that's my best friend. Like, we have the best relationship. But then I was just like, to see other people calling their moms and like, just like a daughter-mother relationship, it hits very different. And so when I see that, like, it kind of does like bring me down. And, you know, to a certain point, Mother's Days was like the hardest days for me. And they honestly just got easier.
Really? Just over time?
Over time, just me, because it did take me a while to like actually go to her grave after it. So over time, just going to her grave and like just putting flowers on it, spending Mother's Day with like, you know, my other mother figures. So like my grandma. And even like, you know, calling those who are like mother figures to me, telling them Happy Mother's Day and stuff like that made me feel better. So it was basically like, I knew that it wasn't the end of the world, right? But it was also like, I gotta do this for the both of us. Like, we gotta get out the mud.
I get that, but so I get that as much as I can get that, you know, because it's like my mom is here. Yeah. But the question that I have is like, you're 11, so like I can see now as 23-year-old Aaliyah, like you can easily say, I'm doing it for my mom and I want to make my mom proud. But I guess the question that I have is, at 11, like, when did that hit for you? Like, I really want to make my mom proud. Because at 11, you're going through puberty.
Yeah.
You're like, so much is changing, even outside of losing your mom. So much is changing within you.
Yeah.
Like, you're about to be 13, you're gonna be a teenager, like all of those things. So do you know, I guess, the time where you were like, okay, I really want to make my mom proud? Mm-hmm. Because again, 11, like you're so young, so I could see that just being super traumatizing, mm-hmm. you know? So yeah, was there a mark or?
So I used to be like I said, like I was mad at the world. I didn't know anything. So I was mad for a while. I stopped going to church because, if you knew my mom, like, we didn't go to church every Sunday, but we were at church. Like, I was basically like in there. And so my grandma would call and she'd be like, hey, like, you know, you weren't at church today and this, that. And then finally I went to church one day. I was kind of bamboozled into going into church. I was like, oh, I really don't want to be here. But we had like children's church, and it was like our, I don't want to say like our teacher, basically. I didn't want to say teacher, but like teacher. Yeah. Our teacher basically was saying something, and she kind of like pulled me to the side, and she was just like, you know, like, she had a conversation with me, and she was like, you know, your mom wouldn't want you to be like this, and like, you know, I'm happy to see you back, and like, she was just like basically cheering me on. She was just like, you know, being like this is not going to be okay. Like, you should want to be happy. Now at 11, that still doesn't mean anything to me. Like, I'm still angry or whatever. But as time pushed on, I had to realize, like, okay, she's not coming back. I cannot do this. At one point, I'm thinking, like, I'm being delusional. I'm like, she's on vacation somewhere, like, they're setting this up, like, you know, stuff like you would see in a movie, but it's just like, no, this is real, like, and it didn't become like real until, like, you know, I was able to really like breathe in and out and like actually be like, dang. So I would say it was that point where my teacher pulled me aside and she was just like, yeah, you can't keep doing this, like, you can't just dwell on this. And that's what, you know, kind of this death made, like, you know, not all deaths are like, I won't say they're easy, because I still have like trouble with them to this day, but it makes it easier.
Okay, yeah.
Because you can't always dwell on it. Like, it's like life goes on. You never forget about them. You never forget about them. It's a constant thought. But they wouldn't want you just sitting here over them not being here.
Of course not.
They will want you to, you know, live your life as if they were here. So that was just a thing, and I was just like, I can't stop doing what I'm doing. So I went back to being active in my church and, you know, playing sports as if I was, and track, and just the different like youth groups that I was in, like when I was younger. I really liked that. And really one summer, my best friend's grandpa, he would always have us at church. He did not play with us. Monday and Wednesday, we was at that church.
Oh yeah, them Wednesday nights.
Well,
But
no.
Monday, what was going on Monday?
Monday we would have Monday we would have the truck drop the stuff off to the church.
Oh, so y'all put
And-
it in the church.
And this would be like stuff from like, we would be like a food pantry.
Oh,
So we're
okay.
like taking the stuff off the truck and like, you know, dividing it up and things of that nature. And then on Wednesdays we would have soup kitchen. And then at soup kitchen it would just be where it's open to the community. They would come
Gotcha.
and do stuff like that. And one time this man came in and I was kind of looking at the food like, ugh, I want to eat that.
How we gonna serve it and I don't want to eat it.
Yeah. But then I had to realize like these people don't have
Food at all.
Yeah. And then I was like, I can be mad at the world and have everything, but these people have nothing.
Yeah.
So that really gave me like another perspective on life too. Like I can't do it. I can't be mad at the world. Like I want to be mad at the world, but I just can't do it. Like I just have to accept it and like I said, like, you know, live for her.
That's real. So, what advice would you give to somebody who recently lost somebody and because I understand, I remember when I lost my grandfather, we knew he was gonna pass. So we had a lot of time in hospice. At first he could talk and then he couldn't talk anymore. So we just saw the decline happening. And that was really sad. But when he did pass, it was like, we knew it was gonna happen. So it was sad, but it wasn't as sad as it could have been if he just suddenly passed. But to reel it in, what advice would you give to somebody who lost somebody and they're struggling right now? Because death is so hard.
The advice that I would give to somebody, one thing I like to do is I like to give people space. I don't think that you should overcrowd a person, or you really need to tell somebody how much that person meant to you or how much you know that person meant to them, because that's not going to help at that point. Like all you can do is comfort, but if that person asks for space, like give them space. Another like word of advice is, you know, like this person's not gonna, like, they're not coming back. So you gotta do you, like you gotta live like they're still here, because they're not gonna want you to be like moping and doing God knows what just because they're not here. Like you should live your life as is. That's another big thing. And also like take your time with your grief. Like grief is not just gonna happen when the death happens. Grief pops up at random times. It's a weird thing. Sometimes it honestly gets me sometimes, and then I gotta like shake myself sometimes and be like, okay, like we gotta do this kind of thing. But basically just know that loved one is always there with you. They're watching over you, they're rooting for you, and they wouldn't want anything else to happen to you. So if you could do them the favor of just like continuing what you're doing in life, that would be what's best for you. Yes, like go find a counselor, or if you want to go talk to your pastor, go talk to your pastor if you feel like that's someone that can help you out. Or if you have a mentor, like that basically would help. Now, like I said, like I wish I told my 11-year-old self, like wake up, smell the roses, go to therapy. You might need to go lay on somebody's couch and, you know, talk about your feelings, because I really wasn't talking about it with anybody. It was kind of like bottled in. Now, when I did get the chance to let it out, which was in like one of the programs I was in when I was younger, but I'm not gonna go too much into that. Like I felt relief, like just to talk about like, you know, my feelings and talk about what I felt when that happened. And, you know, to connect to other people, you know, I felt alone when it happened, but when I saw how much other kids lose their parents too, and how it's not weird or weird to not have a traditional home, I was like, what's going on, kind of thing. And you know, you're not alone.
Ooh.
Like, there's always gonna be someone in your shoes, somewhere else, going through the same thing. But you just kind of have to, I don't want to say push through, but you gotta let it run its course, and then wake up and smell the roses and just realize, like, life is just gonna keep going.
Yeah.
And it's not stopping by any means.
That's cool. I think it's twofold, because it's one thing of like life keeps going, but that can be good or bad, because it's like, okay, life keeps going, and while you're sad and you're in the dumps, but you're seeing everybody else around you moving and just keep going, and you're like, damn, like, I'm sad, why didn't everything just stop? But when you come to the realization of, and you can accept that life keeps going, then it's just like, okay, I have to pick myself back up. But you touched on something else when you said lean on the people around you and just your community. That's so important, and knowing that you're not alone.
Yeah.
Because I remember, unrelated to the subject but still related, I remember I went to a mental hospital when I was like 15, and it's not funny, but that's my coping mechanism, laughing. But I went to a mental hospital because I couldn't do it no more. I just wanted to end it all. But one thing that was so hard for me in that time period of my life was I felt like I was alone in how I was feeling, and I was depressed, and I just was like, I just can't do this. But when I was in that hospital, I was surrounded by so many other people who were dealing with similar things, and they just wanted to end it. But seeing that was like, oh wow, I'm not the only one going through this. So I guess the advice that I would give to people is to look for resources. Again, similar to what you were saying, but just hop on Google and just research, because there are so many different programs, so many different just foundations, things that people have put in place to help people when they are grieving. Because it's hard.
Yeah.
It's forgettable. But you get through it at the end of the day. Like, looking at you right now, it's just like, your strength is super duper admirable. So if your mom were here today, or if you could just have one conversation with her, what would you talk about? Like, there's so much that Aaliyah has done in these 11 years. Is there anything like, I have to tell her about this? Or is it just like,
other than the juicy, like, tea kind of stuff? Other than like giving her the juice, I would tell her about my achievements, because when it came to my achievements, like, my mom was always there. Like, sitting in the bleachers, I'm on the sideline, not even doing nothing. I might do a little jump at a little game, and she's gonna be the last one in the bleachers. Yep. And so honestly, like, if I could just skim over everything, I'm literally telling her, this graduation, I did this, I became this, like, and I think it would just put the biggest smile on her face and just make her very warm. I mean, but she does know what's going on, because she can see everything that I'm doing. Literally. But also, like, she was just like, you know, an achievement person. Not saying like it was always like you have to achieve. Of course, you gotta take your losses sometimes too. But like, just for her to see that, you know, I came all this way and I did it, would be like very great. But also I would thank her too, because the people that she set up in my life before she ended up leaving. So really shout out to her and her people.
Hey, shout out to my girl. She look at now. Okay, look at you now. Oh, everything you said was beautiful. Thank you so much for your vulnerability, being here today, your support. I think this was one of my favorite episodes. One, because of your vulnerability. I haven't talked about a topic like this at all, but I think that it can reach so many people. So again, thank you for being here. Thank you all for watching. And my name is Kristen LeRae, here to motivate the day. And I will see you guys next time on my Uncovered series.